This episode of Funky Fitness Now is made possible by listeners like you. Get exclusive rewards and more by visiting funkyfitnessnow.com/support. Funky Fitness Now, episode 42, Weird Fitness in the News.
I gotta stay up on all fours. I don't want to be a chicken.
Welcome to Funky Fitness Now, where every week we take a look at some of the creative, unusual, and crazy things people do to get fit. We have a lot of fun, and occasionally we even learn something. So fasten your weight belt. It's time for Funky Fitness Now. Here are your hosts, Steve Stearns and Jessica Bailey.
Hi, and welcome to Funky Fitness Now, episode number 42. I am Steve Stearns from Outside Health and Fitness, and I'm really excited that you're here tonight because we are talking about the news. Fitness in the news. Stuff is happening. It's in the news. It's now. It's wow. It's whatever. Speaking of now, wow, whatever, my co-host from Sassy Girl Fitness NYC, Jessica Bailey.
Hi, whatever. It's just whatever. Jessica Bailey.
Yeah.
And wild and wacky,
wild
that
now.
is true.
Hey, whoa.
And I like the little voice that you put on. It's fitness in the news.
Hey, it's in the news. It's now. It's happening. It's wow.
It's very, very nice. And I like that you're like, and whatever, it's Jessica Bailey.
I know, and the only thing that you picked up on was, and whatever.
And whatever, I know. Well, they always say a person hears what they want to hear.
That's true.
And I guess I wanted to hear whatever, so there we go.
You just want to hear whatever. I think our listeners want to hear just whatever.
Well, we're going to talk about the weird things in the news, and on today's show, you're going to discover why crawling isn't just for babies.
And why being allergic to exercise might be more than a convenient excuse for some people.
And how you can be just like a bat.
And how some in the Middle East are taking parkour to a whole new level.
But before we get started today, we want to make sure that you know that we're not endorsing any of the therapies, exercise programs, equipment, ideas, foods, or supplements that we're sharing with you on the show.
Right. If you hear something that we're talking about and think it might be something you'd like to try, check with your doctor first. It's always a good idea to get there okay before you start any new exercise or diet plan.
All right. So the first topic that I want to talk to you about tonight that I read about recently is called crunning. Crunning. C-R-U-N-N-I-N-G.
So if you use it in a sentence, it would be like, I have a crunning plan.
Well, kind of. Okay.
I was going with cunning plan.
Oh, yeah.
No,
it's not like cunning.
I need some crunning shoes. That would be better.
You need crunning gloves, not shoes.
Ah.
Shoes are not important in this workout. It's the gloves that are important in this workout. All right, do you know what a bear crawl is?
I do.
Okay.
I have them for breakfast.
Yeah. Not the donut, the workout. So it's similar to a bear crawl, except you run with your knees off the ground and you use your hands to propel you forward. This is why you really need gloves.
This has got to be really hard to do.
Right. You have to invest in a pair of sturdy gloves and have really strong shoulders. No shoulder injuries for this one. Because your upper body has to handle propelling you forward on all fours.
This is in the news because it's starting to take off and people are starting to get into it. What's the reason for doing this other than just running? Why not just stand up?
This is an alternative to running. So instead of just a regular run, you can get down on all fours because you're exercising your upper body as well as your lower body. So it's a 2-for-1. When you run, you're really just isolating and utilizing your lower body.
Right.
So you get down on the ground and start crawling away.
Just doing bear crawls is hard. I mean, you can feel it. I can't imagine running, and particularly for any distance. Now, do they use any other? So they have gloves. Do they have knee pads or helmets or goggles, snorkels, any other type of equipment? Floats?
In this article that I read about it, nope. People just had really sturdy gloves to protect their fingers, and that was it.
Wow.
Maybe you don't wear knee pads because you're like, hey, I got to stay up on all fours. I don't want to be a chicken.
Crunning. And if you go at just a smaller speed, is it called crogging?
Yes.
Just going to go out for a crog. I'm just going to crun over to the supermarket, pick a few things up, a couple of bear claws.
Join me for a quick crog today.
Well, I have one that has to do with running as well, but not on all fours, just on two legs.
Okay.
I found this to be quite interesting. I don't know how funky this necessarily is, but I had never heard of this before. So there is a teenage girl in Canada who has a very unusual food allergy, and this allergy only shows up after she exercises. So she's not allergic to the food on its own, and she's not allergic to exercise on its own. But if you put the two together, she is allergic.
Interesting. Well, good thing you don't tend to eat while you exercise.
No, this is even before. So the way that this happened was she had rice crackers and hummus, and she had that just before she went and worked out on a treadmill. And she ran for only 10 minutes before her lips started to swell up. And she had to stop running, and her symptoms became very severe. So severe, they took her to the hospital. And in the emergency room, they gave her like Benadryl and stuff to take care of the swelling. And what it turned out that she had was this rare thing called a food-dependent, exercise-induced anaphylaxis.
Oh my God, that's a lot of words.
That is a lot of words. I guess they found out later on it was chickpeas that triggered the allergy. But the chickpeas, she's had chickpeas multiple times before with no problems. She's exercised multiple times before with no problems. But together, there's this rare anaphylaxis, and she happens to have it. I just thought that was very weird.
It is very weird. How does she fuel before her workouts? And like, can she eat like 2 hours before her workout and be fine?
As long as it's not chickpeas, I think she's okay.
That is so bizarre.
Yeah. I'd never heard of anything like that before.
No, in all of those fitness magazines, they talk about what to eat pre-workout and what to eat post-workout.
Right.
She has to ignore all of that.
It's very bizarre.
Yeah, it is so bizarre.
It's nice that it's rare, though. And it's in the news.
I'm glad that it's rare. All right. Have you ever looked at a bat hanging upside down and thought, yeah, that's awesome?
No and no.
What? You don't look at bats hanging upside down on a regular basis? I don't understand.
No, rather not.
If you would really like to be a bat, there is a workout for you. And it's basically inversion, right? So you're upside down. They're upside down workouts. And you do core exercises upside down. You've probably seen them at the gym. There are these like boots that they hang onto a bar and then you hang upside down.
Yep.
And, basically if you're interested in doing this, I would start with easy exercises. Basic core exercises.
Yeah.
Like a sit-up or something like that. Have someone nearby to spot you.
What's the thinking behind the whole upside down thing? It's just kind of good for your alignment, your spine, that kind of thing?
It relieves stress on your joints and your spine, and it can help you increase your range of motion.
So that's the Batman workout.
I mean, you can call it a Batman workout. Maybe you really like superheroes.
I do.
I like bats. So.
You do? Really?
I mean, yeah.
They are cute and cuddly, I suppose.
No, I mean, I'm not really obsessed with bats. I just decided that I would like them today.
Oh,
I
okay.
don't know. This is a new thing of mine.
Well, speaking about bats, there's a thing going on now in the Middle East called street workout.
Oh, okay. What is that?
It's kind of like parkour, only it's different. So instead of like running through an urban environment as fast as you can, flipping, jumping, all the things that they do in parkour, what they do with the street workout is they go into these urban environments and just do these really physical and athletic and acrobatic type movements. You've seen the human flag before, so they'll do things like that.
Wait, is it human flag where people crawl up the pole and they extend themselves?
Yes.
Yeah, we talked about that on an earlier episode.
Yeah, and these guys are doing it. They're not necessarily using a flagpole. They're just anything that's in the urban environment that they can use. The weird thing about some of the there's a bunch of photographs, and I'll have these in the show notes, that they're doing these in kind of war-torn areas. So there's like just mass destruction, and these guys are doing handstands and human flags and all this other stuff.
You know what, though? I really think that that's awesome because you're like, hey, we want to get fit anywhere.
Yeah.
You know what I've seen during the summertime, people in New York like run and then they jump up on like lampposts or street signs and they start doing pull-ups and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, you use your environment. We can't afford a gym. All right, bring the gym to me. I'm going to find a way to be fit anyway.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I think it's kind of cool because it's very creative. You know, you're saying, you're just like looking at your environment and going, what can I do with that? What can I do with this? Mm-hmm. So it's kind of cool.
Oh, yeah.
I like that you went, ooh, yeah. So this is the portion of the show where we thank those of you who support the show, and we want to thank Lauren for her support and becoming our number one and first Funky Fitness fan. Yay!
Yay, Lauren. Guess what? You will always be number one. You will always be the first.
We're number one.
Can you imagine? That's awesome.
Ooh, yeah.
So, Lauren, we thank you so much. And now we are looking for your help, too. So become a Funky Fitness fan and support the show. It's really, really easy. We've also set up some great rewards as a way of saying thank you. And levels start as low as just $1 a month. I mean, that's like 25 cents an episode.
Yeah, you could probably find that in your couch. You know what I mean? Now, you might be thinking to yourself, hey, $1, I mean, that doesn't do very much, but it really does. It helps a lot, and it adds up. You know, when you pledge $1 or more, you get new episodes before they're made available to the public, and we give you a really cool shout-out on the show.
Oh, yeah. And for $5 a month, you get behind-the-scenes videos. And at $10 a month, you get additional bonus episodes. And for $25 a month, all of that plus a personalized thank you video from us to you.
Ooh, I would like one of those. The personalized video thing. That sounds really good.
Yeah, me too.
So take a second, go through your seat cushions, and then visit funkyfitnessnow.com/support and become a Funky Fitness fan right now. We really do appreciate it. You can also find your Patreon link in the show notes for this episode at funkyfitnessnow.com/42.
And you'll find links to everything else we talked about in the show today, including an article on 6 treadmill blunders.
Ooh, that sounds great. So listen, what do we have coming up next week, Jess?
Well, next week we've got wild, wearable health and fitness tech.
Oh, that sounds easy to say.
Oh, yeah. Totally easy to say. That's why I had to speak it very slowly and pronounce all of the syllables.
Well, that's great. As a geek, I am really looking forward to that episode. So until next time, I'm Steve Stearns.
And I'm Jessica Bailey, saying stay fit and funky.
Ooh, yeah.
Thanks for listening to the show. If you haven't already, make sure you visit funkyfitnessnow.com for more of the weird, wild, and kooky things people do to stay fit. While you're there, be sure to sign up for our weekly newsletter so you never miss an episode. See you next week.